I have to say, man, like I really wish I hadn't waited as long as I did to watch Justice League Dark. Oh my god.
Yeah, man.
The brutalness in this film is on another level of the fuck is happening.
Yeah, I feel like most people didn't realize or forgot the movie's rated R. Like,
Oh, but like I'm watching it and like Kira came in and she's like, "What are you watching?" I was like, "Justice League Dark." She's like, "What is it?" I was like, "It's like the Justice League, but it's kind of got a darker tone to it, and there's like a lot of shit going on in an apocalypse right now." She's like, "Oh, okay," and she sits down and I was like, "No, go go away."
like,
She's
no,
like,
this is
"Why?" I
not-
was like, she's like, "Why?" I was like, "Listen, one of the superheroes just got ripped in half, and I saw his intestines hanging out." I was like, "You're not watching this. It's
yeah,
not happening."
pretty hardcore, man.
Yo, that I'm just saying, like, I don't know if you want to put this on the show or not, but I was just not ready for a lot of the people who just went out like a G. Like, I was just not ready.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, totally, man. Like that's even me watching it the first time, I was like, "Oh, wow." Like they didn't hold back at all. Like
I was so happy. There were certain characters that I was so happy watching them go out. It was on another level of awesome. Like, yeah, Black Mana just they're just like beaming people, and then they just got him, and I was like, and I was like, yes, let's go.
my favorite part, and I think I said this, I was talking about it recently, oddly enough. But like, yeah, my favorite part in that movie was when they recruit the Suicide Squad and Harley is like, "Today is the day we earn our name." And I was like, "Yeah." Like for real. Like this is like the ultimate suicide mission that y'all are going on right now.
Right, and I love the fact that like right there towards the end, like King Shark is there, and then Harley pops out of all the dead bodies, and she's like, "Woo!"
Yeah.
I was like, this is the most Harley thing that could happen in this show.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that movie is dope, man. It's so good.
So
It's
good.
so good.
If
Yeah.
I, and by the way, rating for that, I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10. Just, I was like, oh shit, all the shit that was going on with it too. Plus,
Yeah.
I know she's been the voice for a little while now, but I'm just genuinely a fan of Rosario Dawson doing the voice of Wonder Woman. Like,
Yep.
she's so good
Yeah.
at it.
She is. Yeah, no, for real. She stands up. And also, it's funny, we didn't talk about it. Cliff, did you see the new Space Jam?
Oh yeah.
No, I have not seen a new Space Jam, and
Okay.
I don't really know if I need to or want to.
Okay. The only reason I bring it up is because I'm going to spoil something. Wonder Woman shows up in the movie. She's animated, and she is voiced by Rosario Dawson,
Oh,
which
now
is
I have to go watch it.
I'm sitting there watching it, and But the weird thing is, she's animated to look like Gal Gadot, but
Mhm.
she starts speaking, and I'm like, "That's Rosario Dawson." I was like, "I know that voice anywhere." And then sure enough, like if you watch the credits, it's like Rosario Dawson. I was like, "I knew it. You didn't have to tell me. I knew."
Warner Brothers, you can't fool us. You
Yeah,
just didn't
full.
want to. You just didn't want to pay Gal Gadot money just for her to do the voice. So you went and got Rosario Dawson.
So, man, I'll take it. It was dope. It was awesome. But yeah, no, I love Rosario as Wonder Woman. That's fantastic.
I
But
think.
yeah, man, that whole movie had a great cast, man.
Oh yeah.
Like awesome. Swag, you all caught up?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
I've been caught.
Ladies
I've
and
just
gentlemen,
been listening, enjoying.
ladies and gentlemen, Cliff gave Justice League Dark Apocalypse War 10 out of 10. Yeah, he's about a year, well, over a year behind on that one, but we'll take it. Yeah, we'll take it. We'll take it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, this is Nerds of the Round Table. Welcome back. I am Antonio Padilla, returning today after a couple weeks off. The Red Dog, Cliff Miller. There he is. Look at that whip. Yes.
Red dog, red dog, red dog. Yeah.
There he is, ladies and gentlemen. Good to have you back, Cliff. And also with us, Mr. Swagtastic. Swag, give him a little wave if you can. All right,
Uh.
that's all we got. That's all we got. There it is.
Oh shit,
Good
the screen
enough.
went technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Technical
It's like
difficulties.
wave,
Does,
wave. I don't understand wave.
does
That's
not
not-
compute.
Yeah, exactly.
There are no entries for wave in my index.
Vision would be so disappointed right now.
For sure. But it is good. It's good to be back. It's good to have you back, Cliff. You know, we persevered without you, but it's good to have you back, man.
Yeah, it's been wild, man. Like the last few weeks, we start this off to start with big congratulations to Chaz. He got married last week, so that's part of the reason why I wasn't able to be on. I was at the rehearsal dinner and then had the whole wedding to go to, so big ups to him. And then like my new job is like crazy as shit, so I was like had to run around do all that thing. And then this week, man, I was like on this Friday, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna shut everything down and just make sure like I have all the time I need for all the things that I want to do. So I was like, this is happening.
Yeah, man. And look, man, I get it. I was even gonna be like, yo, should we maybe shuffle some things around, make sure Cliff has time to be on the show? Because it's like I get it, man. I get life is hectic and busy and whatnot. But hey, like I said, we're glad to have you back. And just so you know, we're gonna put it on record right here on the show. If we need to shuffle some stuff in the future, just let us know, man. That way we can make sure that you're on the show.
That.
Yeah, man. And like you said, like congratulations to Chaz. Like that's awesome, man. Wish you all the best. Again, just congrats. That's great. That's phenomenal news. So,
Hey, fun fact. Also, I want to throw this out there. Only white and only Hispanic person in the wedding party. Just put it out there. You can't escape us, okay? We taking over everything.
everywhere.
Everywhere. We just pop up. I was just like, "Oye, ¿qué pasó, amigos? Estoy aquí con el hombre."
I love it. That's great. All right, so that's awesome, man. Loving it. Let's get into the news because we don't have a whole lot of news. We got 2 trailers, and then Swag, you got some game stuff, right?
Yes.
All right, so we'll get into that. Before we get into TV time, once again, TV time is going to be a marathon to get through. And now that Cliff is here, this is gonna be fun. But let's start with something that came out literally right after we recorded last week's episode. And I feel like we should address this because I don't want to feel like I was just blowing this dude up last week and ignoring this. Like I said, this came out after we recorded last week, so my bad. So it came out. Vincent Kartheiser, who is playing Jonathan Crane on Titans, which we're going to talk about later. And again, we gave him such a glowing review last week. And then this came out, and it's like, oh man, that's gonna look bad on, But again, like that's what we're doing here. Like we're addressing this. We're gonna address it head on. We're not gonna mess around. So apparently, Vincent Kartheiser was subject of multiple investigations over his on-set misconduct while they were shooting Titans season 3. This is coming from an article from Deadline. It wasn't exclusive. It says that, look, I'm going to try and get to the most important parts about it. So allegations, which are believed to have included disruptive, juvenile behavior, and inappropriate comments. Now, what that exactly means is never specified or clarified in the article. However, it says that Warner Brother TV's Labor Relations Department interviewed the relevant parties. The investigations were conducted remotely because of COVID protocols that did not allow for the Burbank-based investigators to visit the Toronto set. Now, according to sources, the first investigation into a complaint said to be about verbal comments and outbursts concluded that Kartheiser's behavior didn't rise to level of termination, but did warrant corrective action. It says the article was verbally reprimanded by the studio. Weeks later, near the end of season 3 production, Warner Brothers received a second complaint that was also investigated. This time it resulted in the studio assigning a representative to monitor Kartheiser while he was on set. The article does go on to say that they heard that there were other claims about alleged misconduct raised in the complaints, that these were also investigated but not corroborated. Vincent Kartheiser denies the allegations. He says that Warner Brothers investigated the matter and made clear to him that its expectations for behavior on set and that he agreed to comply with their directives. So, again, not a lot of details in here. There seem to be some conflicting reports from multiple parties. However, Kartheiser, he does at least admit to Warner Brothers, telling him, hey, some of your behavior might not be acceptable. Please correct this. He claims he agreed to comply. And, so again, I don't know. I have no inside information here. I'm just reading from the article here. And again, I did want to address it because, like we said last week, we gave him such a glowing review for his performance, and not to diminish his performance because it is great. But I don't want people to think that I was ignoring this. Like I said, it came out after we recorded. That being said, Cliff, because you have not been here, I want to throw this over to you first. Like, what do you make of this, and how do you feel?
Okay, well, as far as like his performance goes so far, like it's been on point, right? So I'm definitely excited. But as far as like the allegations go, like if they've been addressed, they've been addressed. But I just need to know, like, what is corrective actions? Like, what does Warner Brothers do? Like, when I get in trouble at work, I get a talking to, and probably like a piece of paper that says, "Hey, if you do this again, further disciplinary action will be deemed as appropriate." And I usually get another piece of paper because that's what they deem to be appropriate when I break rules. So I want to know, like, Warner Brothers, like, what the corrective action was. I say that in parentheses, by the way, if for obviously our listeners on
Right.
on the podcast will never see me do quotations. But yeah, like I think about corrective actions. Like, what was the corrective action? Like, did you guys like sit him down and be like, listen, we know you really like this role, but if you keep this up, we're gonna have to take this from you. And he's like, no, don't take this from me. I'll sign a piece of paper. And then like, we'll give you a representative. He's like, I'll take your representative. And then
Right.
I don't like what. Like, did you spank him? Like, did you like bend him over a knee, hit him like a wooden paddle? Like, I just need to know, like, genuinely, what is corrective actions that were taken?
Well, I think you kind of answered it. Like, just reading from the article, like it said they assigned a representative to monitor him. Like, that's basically giving him a babysitter, to make it doesn't happen again. He's basically got a parole officer watching him on set,
Yo, could you imagine that? Like, imagine, like, you're 20, you're in your late 20s, early 30s, mid 30s. Then they assign you a babysitter. Like, how demoralizing is it that one, you can't keep yourself together, right? You can't act. You're a professional actor, and the word professional is in there, and you're not being professional. That they have to assign you a babysitter. Like, could you just? I just imagine like that guy. That guy must hate his job, right? Like he's like, no, sir, don't do that. Don't say that. Don't you say those words now. You knock that off. Like, I feel so bad for that guy.
Yeah, it must suck to have that job for real.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the whole situation is just, because we were rooting for him, and then we find out like this is the way he conducts himself. And again, like I don't know, I don't know what he did, what he said, what he didn't do, what he didn't say. I don't know. All I can imagine is like they specifically said juvenile behavior. It's like,
right.
I don't know.
In public.
I mean, I have a vague idea of what that might mean, but I don't know exactly what it means in relation to this specific incident. So I don't know, man. It's just weird. The whole thing is weird, and it's just I don't know, man. It's just it did leave a bad taste in my mouth after after I found.
I just imagine he's out like in the street, like running around being a douche, and just long enough so that someone gives him someone that he could play. He can have like a second player controller over to, so he can play PlayStation with someone instead of just being an adult and like asking somebody to play with him. He's just like, I'm just gonna act up until they give me somebody, and then I'll just behave because I have someone to play PlayStation with.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Swag, how do you feel about this, man?
Yeah, it's a little, I don't know. It's weird, like not having like the proper, like full information on it, because it's like,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, like I get like kind of like the base idea of it. Like he was probably being really rude or just maybe causing drama. I don't know, but it does suck, especially considering like most of the, if not all of the cast are actually pretty cool people. So it's like,
Yeah.
if he was treating others badly, like, come on, dude. Like these people, I'm sure like they would have been nice to you if you hadn't, it's like, and I'm sure they probably were at the jump. Like they were probably trying to be,
Yeah.
like make friends and be nice. Yeah. So it's like, the least you could do is pay that back.
Yeah, no, I agree, and that's sort of the thing that makes this whole situation so odd.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. And I think like I mean, look, I didn't read it originally, but the article does go on to clarify that he is not contracted to appear in season 4. So perhaps that was part of the corrective behavior. It's like, look,
Yeah.
we're not going to tolerate this anymore, so finish your work and thank you for your service. So I don't know. It's a weird thing, and again, like, look, like we don't have all the information, we don't have all the answers, but it is something I felt was important to address on the show because, like I said, Swag and I were giving him all this praise, and we were blowing up his performance last week, and then the information came out after we recorded, and I felt bad. So I wanted to take the time to address it head on and make sure we're not ignoring it. We're aware of the situation. It sucks, terrible. We don't condone that kind of behavior in any way, shape, or form. Like Cliff was saying, that you're supposed to be a professional. You should act professional like that. There's no way we're going to try and justify that. So with that being said, again, Cliff, what's up?
Sorry, I was just reading a Reddit thread, and it was like, someone get David Borealis because Connor's being a dick again. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah,
Deep
I love
cut.
it. Yeah.
Like, I like it. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, so that's the situation, and and again, we're gonna end up talking about him again later when we get to TV time. So, but again, we're gonna try our best to separate the art from the artist and approach it that way. So, there it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, we don't have a whole lot of news. Wanted to start with addressing this situation first, but let's get into trailers. We have 2 trailers to talk about right away. First of all, we're going to talk about, we got the final trailer for Marvel Studios' Eternals. Swag, I'm going to go ahead and let you sort of share your thoughts first on this, because I'm genuinely curious what you think.
Yeah. It's like the same thing over again, right? Because there's not really much that's really catching my attention and keeping me interested. Especially, like, again, like in this and like in the last one, like I just wasn't. It didn't grab me and like keep my attention. Like it just wasn't anything that I was interested in. And again, to kind of touch on Kumail, who it's like, he got this role and like he worked hard for it, and like he was clearly excited, and like I was happy for him, and I was excited to see him play this character and see what he could do. And it's that thing with the last trailer where we barely even saw him again. And I mean, like, I will admit, like, at least it was like some kind of an action shot for him this time. Like, that was
Yeah.
still good to see, but still, it kind of sucks that he's only in like one shot, like a few, like 2, 3 shots in the entire trailer.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not like super interested, like at the
Yeah,
moment.
and I hate to sound like a hater because it's like, I think I've made it pretty clear. Like the last trailer really didn't move the needle for me in any way, and this one doesn't really seem to do it for me either. For the same reasons as the last one, and I think like a lot of the marketing for this movie as well has sort of left me underwhelmed. And granted, look, the movie could come out and be like this massive, like epic thing that they just weren't showing us. But again, like we're just addressing marketing materials. That's what trailers are. It's marketing.
Yeah,
And marketing so far just hasn't really done anything for me. I really hate to say it, but it just hasn't.
yeah,
And and like Cliff and I were talking about it earlier a little bit. We were saying like, they've got Angelina Jolie and they've got Salma Hayek, who Cliff and I was like, we love seeing her in everything, whatever she's in. Like, yeah, I'm there, sign me up. And like Swag, like with you, like I was totally on board with seeing Kumail in this movie. And again, it's like you can dangle all these things in front of me, but like at the end of the day, if the material just doesn't look that compelling to me, like sorry, man, like I don't know, I'm not feeling it. I want to, believe me, I want to be on the hype train for this one. I really
yeah,
do. I'm just not. I don't know. And again, like for me personally, I think this is what it is I've got it in the back of my head. Because remember, I've talked about this multiple times on this show. The Eternals comic book was so bad, it was canceled after 6 issues. Like, that's how little people cared about these characters. And again, I'm sure they're going to revamp the characters and try and do something new with them for the film, but it's just, I don't know, man. These are characters I didn't even care about in the comic books. So why, what am I going to care? Like, you can throw all the money at this movie you want and put all the stars you want in it, and it's like, I don't know. I'm just not feeling it. Yeah, it is what it is. Cliff, what about you?
I think for me, like the biggest hype train that I got going into it, and it sounds very kind of fucked up about what I'm about to say, is I just want to know what celestial it is that nowhere is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Like,
do.
I kind of sounds fucked up because I'm like, yeah, like you got all these cool people in there. There's like this whole world building that you're trying to do and address, but yeah, I just really want to know whose head is nowhere. Like,
yeah.
You're not wrong, man. I'd like to find that out as well. So,
I mean, and we're going to in this one, apparently, but it's just, I don't know, it's cool, and it's like we said, I kind of feel like Marvel is just like trying to force the draw power by just loading it up with stars, even though we
Yeah.
know, like you said, like the comic series ended after 6 issues. Like it's not like it's a great one, you know.
Yeah.
And maybe so maybe if you had James Gunn there, it would be better. Like we would laugh about it at least. But I don't know, man. Like I'm kind of worried about the movie. The trailer really, is trying to tell it. It kind of felt like a Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Like you're trying to tell like this elaborate story among like these, amongst the Eternals. But the problem is like you're not putting that out there. You're kind of just like, hey, we're gonna tell this epic story. And I'm like, yeah, probably not, because we kind of know what to expect from Kevin Feige at this point with all the movies he's had coming out. And I was like, I don't want to see another, Thor Dark World at all. So
yeah, I don't think any of us want that.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's funny because I feel like the one thing that irks me most about this movie, and again, they do sort of address it in this trailer, the idea that the Eternals didn't help in the fight against in either one of them. Like Thanos came to Earth, one, they didn't help. Number two, they didn't seem to help Earth after the aftermath of that, and then they didn't step up to help in the rematch against Thanos. Like that feels really stupid. And again, like they try to address it here in the trailer, but it all just sounds like, oh, this is clearly all just retconning because we didn't know this movie was going to happen. So it's really dumb. One comment I read on YouTube was like, why didn't you guys help fight Thanos? Even a villain like Thanos still has, plot armor. It's like, yeah, that's exactly what this is. It's like, I don't know, man. I just, it, I don't,
I don't
I
know.
think
The line I was gonna say, the line that got me was when he's like, "Yeah, this table must be like made of vibranium," and he broke it, and he was like, "No, it's a fall collection
Fall
at IKEA."
collection. IKEA.
I will say this though about the cast. I'm actually kind of hyped to see Brian Tyree Henry in the movie.
Yeah.
He's quickly becoming one of my favorite actors. Like just from like 2018 and onwards, like that dude's awesome. Like he's great. So yeah, and that line, the way he delivers that line, perfect. But yeah, so Swag, do you have any other thoughts on this trailer?
No, not really. I mean, like, I just kind of want to go back on like the thing that you said after I spoke on my thoughts. Like, yeah, I'm not saying like I hate the movie and that it's gonna be bad. It's just the trailer,
Yeah,
doesn't really have me hooked. That's about
Yeah.
it.
yeah, and that really is it too. Like I again, like I don't want to sound like a hater. I don't want to sound like I'm crapping all over everything. It was just, again, it's just the marketing just hasn't really done anything for me. That's
Yeah.
all I'm saying. And again, to reiterate, this has happened to me in the past, and I've ended up loving the movie. Like I said it all the time. Like the trailers for The Last Jedi, those trailers didn't do anything for me. And as we all know, I saw the movie, love that movie, love it, and I will, defend that movie. I'll die on that hill. You know what I'm saying? So who knows? Like this might be the same thing. It just might be a case of bad trailers. Who knows? So we won't know until we see the final product. So
Yeah.
that's what it is.
It's true. It's true.
It is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. But anyway, Eternals is hitting theaters November 5th. No Disney Plus premium access. They are sticking to a theatrical plan, although, seeing how the world seems to be running in circles right now, that may not be the best idea. But we'll see. We will keep you guys updated. All right. Now, let's talk about a trailer that I think we're all really hyped about. Just based on our initial reactions to it, this was a trailer that also dropped this week. I believe it was on Tuesday, correct, Cliff? Tuesday or Wednesday?
Yeah, Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday. Which again, but yeah, we keep forgetting to do this, ladies and gentlemen. We are recording Friday, August 20th, 2021. So this dropped on the Tuesday previous. We got our first trailer for Star Wars Visions, and this, make no mistake, blew my mind. I think I speak for Cliff on that as well, possibly Swag. Yeah, this trailer, and again, like I knew this was the thing that was happening, and I kind of understood like the idea that it's going to be like these anthology stories in anime, telling sort of different stories within the Star Wars universe. But now knowing that and seeing what the actual execution of it is, totally different thing, because this completely caught me off guard and blew my mind. Like I am so on board with this. Like this is the type of stuff I'm looking for. Like sign me up for more of this. Cliff, what do you think of this trailer?
Yeah. So we kind of touched on it earlier. We're talking about how it just, to use your words, man, it was like, Batman Ninja meeting the Animatrix, and I'm with it, like 100%. Like I love the drawing styles, very My Hero Academia, for those who are wondering, or even if you're looking for like Dragon Ball Z type, not Dragon Ball GT or even Dragon Ball Super, but we're talking about the Z types, fighting styles. Really cool animations. I'm really with it. Like I really enjoyed this a lot. And we gently had my surprise at the beginning of this, beginning when we first started to talk about this. I was shocked to see what I was looking at, and I just can't wait to see what else is gonna happen. down in the stories, man. So I'm excited. I can't stop like babbling about my words. So.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, man. Like I was so and still am kind of flabbergasted by what what was it, because even I just barely saw the trailer right before we started recording, so I'm still kind of processing everything that was on display and everything that they're doing. Like, and you're right, man. The art style, the animation is incredible. I think like you brought up Batman Ninja, and I was like, it gave me Animatrix vibes, and we were like, yeah, it feels like it's a marriage of those two things. Which, if you know Cliff and me, like we're huge fans of those. So like, obviously we're gonna look at this and be like, this is awesome. Swag, what about you? What do you think?
Oh yeah, I'm excited. Cause it's like one thing, like it's Star Wars, but like even watching it, like it's so cool, like that they're expanding like the universe again, and they're telling these stories and like kind of experimenting, which is that's always fun, especially in something like Star Wars. Like that universe it has so many things. It's open for experiments, and it's always great to see what people come up with when they get their hands, like when they're able to experiment in the universe. And I always love it when franchises do this, and like one that always comes to my mind, because I'm so young, is the Halo one that they did. Very similar, and I love that.
Yeah, I do.
So yeah, like I'm definitely excited. And one thing I do want to mention as a quick side thing, after I watched it, I was like, I love this, but you know who else would love this? And I sent it to Tegan, my friend Tegan, because she is a massive weeb. And she watched it right the second I sent it to her, and she came back with this answer. I'm not usually into Star Wars, but that looks so cool.
Yeah, it looks great, man. Yeah, man. To echo your sentiment, man. It's like I feel like Star Wars is a universe that is so rich and primed to be explored outside of sort of the typical like the Skywalker family, which is what almost all of the movies are about. It's like, yeah, like you can go out there and find other characters to follow and explore. Like that's kind of like that's what the expanded universe was before Disney kind of wiped that slate clean, unfortunately. But if they're gonna start exploring the other sides, the other corners of this universe, like, yeah, let's do it. Sign me up. I'm all for that. So, yes, no, this looks amazing. It looks incredible. Obviously, we're all super excited to see it, and we're not going to have to wait very long. So this is dropping on Disney Plus September 22nd. So that's pretty. That's a little over a month away. So we don't have very long. So that's going to be awesome. So yeah, we are most definitely going to add that to TV time. So
yeah,
there it is, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to know what our thoughts on that show is as it's airing, we will keep you guys up to date on that. All right, so that's that's trailers, and honestly, that's the news. We're gonna get into games. I know Swag has some stuff there. Before we get into this week's edition of TV Talk, which again is gonna be packed. So, Swag, take it away. What are the updates this week?
Yeah, so I believe this happened like no, it was like later in the week. So we got another like it's crazy. Fortnite, like I keep saying it every time we get another update on like what they're doing. But recently, like holy crap, like they have been hammering out stuff. And we got another DC skin this week. We got Wonder Woman, which the skin looks amazing. The default style is it looks like the movie costume,
Yeah.
which, that design is amazing. But we
Yeah.
also got the New 52 design, which is also amazing. I love both of those.
Yeah.
So yeah, she is in the shop currently. So if you are at all interested, you should probably go pick that up. But yeah, that was a big surprise. But again, if you really think about it, it shouldn't be that surprising considering we've already got Superman and Batman. It was only a
Yeah.
matter of time.
Yeah. They were gonna have to complete the Trinity at some point.
Which, yeah, I showed you, Antonio, the loading screen. But
Yeah.
funny enough, the name of it is DC Trinity.
Nice.
Yeah. Uh, so yeah, that's what's going on in Fortnite. But I do want to mention something real quick, and I don't know, Cliff, if you saw it at all. But Call of Duty Vanguard was revealed.
I think it's safe to say Cliff saw
Cliff
it.
saw it. Yep. I have some choice words, but first I would like to hear what Cliff thought.
So I saw like the debut was coming, and I actually didn't catch the debut trailer. So I actually didn't even get my first peek into Vanguard until last night when we won. We we won
Oh wow.
in Warzone, and as I'm going up up the rope, yeah, I got killed. I got taken out by a sniper. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know what happened. One of my friends was like, "Dude, you just got Vanguard." I was like, "I don't know what this means." And then I saw the trailer, and I was like, "I now know what this means, and I am very for it." So
Yeah.
yeah, diving into the trailer. The trailer looks beautiful, by the
Yeah.
way. Visually, the trailer looks amazing. I will put it out there. Um, we can dive into certain parts of the trailer if you want to, but I overall I'm excited that we're in World War II. And personally, for me, and this sounds very wrong to say in a lot of different ways, World War II is like my favorite war to like read and like kind of like bask in. And
Yeah.
yeah, so the fact that we can go to Midway, we can go to South Africa, we can go to Europe, we can go everywhere for this game I'm excited about. So that's where I stand with it as of right now.
Yeah. And I agree with you. Like I think World War II for me is like the most interesting one. Like I always love like looking back at it, reading up on the history, learning new things about it. And like especially in games, like that's always fun. Uh, but for me, when I did see it, I did kind of the main thought that kept going over and over in my head was it just looks like Call of Duty World War II again.
Right.
And that was kind of a little disappointing for me because I was kind of hoping for something different. But currently, like again, like I agree, like the trailer looked amazing. And even like the story was cool. Like I'm interested to kind of get that same feel from way back when like Call of Duty was mainly a World War II shooter and like they told different stories across different campaigns of World War II. So that's cool. I'm glad that they're doing that again. But at the moment, I'm not super hyped for the game because it just looks like they're repackaging a game that I already own. So yeah, that's my thoughts. But yeah, I am mostly interested to see what they're gonna do with Warzone though, because we do know that they're gonna integrate this game into Warzone like they did Black Ops. So it'll be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah, hopefully they can get the one up on everything because just like when right when Black Ops came out, like the big problem with it was that all the guns were so OP because no one like paid
Yeah,
attention. So they're like trying to tell you like, hey, we want you to buy Black Ops and then play, but understand these are the weapons you're gonna get, and then they just made them so OP that everybody was like, I don't even want to play this game because
yeah,
it sucked. But I think what I like about, and you're right, like I like the idea that we're being telling like three different stories that are wrapped up in World War II. I do agree because World War II just, it wasn't even that long ago that that game had came out. So I
Yeah.
do agree that they kind of are going back to tapping into it, like tapping into something like a known resource that they can always fall back on. But
Yeah.
it's like there was a lot of different like wars out there, like modern wars that you can kind of go after. I wouldn't say like it's not like I'm looking for like Call of Duty, like Operation Iraqi Freedom. Like I'm not looking for that.
Yeah.
But what I am
Yeah.
looking for is like I am looking for kind of like modernized combat. It's just I don't know, man. I do agree that World War II is kind of that's always been Call of Duty's like MO is to always go back to that whenever they feel like they need to capitalize on the next big
Yeah.
game. So I do agree, but I will have to say though, man, like there was there was the part where the dude had jumped out the aircraft
Yeah.
and you see like a dude like and you just watch him like sailing in and like the air fights are going on and the bombers are being hit and like AAA is being fired up, like the
Yeah.
artillery fire is being hit up, and then there's that one body that just is on fire, is just falling,
Yeah.
and then he lights the dude's parachute on fire, and the man
Yeah.
is just falling. And my daughter saw it while I was watching the trailer, and I was like, I don't even know what to think at this moment. Like my parachute has caught on fire, I have to disengage from it, right? And
Yep.
now I'm just falling, and he's just, and the fact that this man is falling and breathing slowly, because at first he's like panicked, right? He's like, huh, huh, and then he's like,
Yeah.
no, man, I'm freaking the fuck out as I'm
All the way
falling
down.
all the way down.
Yep.
Planes are crashing into each other, and he's falling through the fire. I was like, bro, what? Like,
Yep.
how are we surviving? This is another level. And I was like, I just want to play Call of Duty now, just for that one bit, just so I can see how this finishes off.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I was gonna say, like for Antonio, like that specifically, like that's where the trailer ends, but that specifically gave me major Overlord vibes.
Nice.
And I was like, are we getting a zombies mode this time around again? Because I might get my money again if it's like that.
Great.
That man was falling through the planes that were just, they collided midair, exploded, and this man's
Yeah.
falling through the middle. And I was like, I don't even know what I would do. Like as I'm falling from the sky, knowing I don't have a reserve parachute, I'm just falling. I'm just like, all right, you know what, man? I'm just gonna enjoy what I'm seeing. It's and but the thing is, it's like in real life, like you're probably falling for like a good 45 seconds, right? Maybe more, right? And it felt like you were just like falling like this, just ever so slowly. As you're like, I
Yep.
was like, there's a lot going on. There's like a lot to like take in. There's still sniper fire going on in the ground that you can see bullets whiz up. You can see the AAA fire going off. Like I was like, oh, there's just too much to like ingest in this first viewing of this trailer. Like I had to go back and rewatch just that scene to like really get a grasp of everything.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and like I said, like, and I did enjoy Call of Duty World War II's campaign. And like that was the thing that also kind of came into my head. Was like, for multiplayer for this game, I'm not hyped. But if I could just buy the campaign separately, I would do that.
Yeah, I'm with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
All right. So, got any other game news, Swag?
Nope. That is it.
All right. Thank you for keeping us up to date. Games, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. Also, before we move on to TV time, I don't know how I forgot this. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to give you guys an update. So, and this is also for Cliff and for Swag a little bit. So, I don't have it in hand. I was gonna go grab it, but I did check out Batman Long Halloween Part 2. I am happy to report they didn't screw this one up. So, me being the massive fan of the comic book that it's based on, I was legitimately worried because we've seen them screw up like beloved adaptations before, whether it was The Killing Joke or Batman Hush. So obviously I was really, really nervous about what they were going to do with this one. There were a few minor changes, a few tweaks here and there that kind of raised my eyebrow a little bit. Not enough to be like, oh, this sucks, but it was, oh, that's an interesting choice. But other than that, I feel they stuck the landing, nailed it. So it's worth a watch. Go check it out if you can. So yeah, just want to give you guys a quick update on that before I forget. All right. So with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into everybody's favorite time of the show. It's time. It's TV time. Let's do it. We're going to start, again, we're going to do it in the order in which everything was released this week. So we're going to start with this week's episode of Superman and Lois, the season 1 finale, The Last Sons of Krypton. So, Cliff, throw it over to you real quick. What were your thoughts on the finale for season 1, Superman?
Yeah, I'll just give the 50,000 view. I'm not gonna lie, man. I kind of teared up like towards the end. I was a little choked up. I was like, especially when we got introduced to a brand new character who may have just came from like an alternate world. No spoilers needed to give, but yeah, it was cool, and I was very choked up. And there was that scene with Lois, and she's talking. She's like, you're stronger than this. You're a fighter. Like, show me how to fight. Just like the emotion that she was delivering in the scene. Like, I got choked up. I was like, I want to fight too. I just want to I want to show I'm strong. So it's like, I've been in so hard. But I was like, oh man, I was like my cheeks and stuff were like hurting because like the emotion. I was like, I just felt like I was like, I need to help. I guess it's equivalent to how people feel when they watch Dragon Ball and they want to give their energy to Goku. Like they want to do too. They just stand there like this with their hands in the air like an idiot during a cartoon. I was the same way. I was like, I'm giving you my strength, man. Just fight.
Dude, you're not wrong, man. You're not wrong. Because like I feel like that was the moment that also got me to tear up a bit. Also, like I think you hit it on the head without even really mentioning it, but like Elizabeth Tulloch as Lois Lane, man, she's been killing it. She always brings the emotion and the heart to the show, and like this episode was no different, no exception. Like her performance in this and in that scene as well, but like also Alex Garfin, who plays Jordan, like they both carried that scene, that moment, that emotion together. Like so, like yeah, man, I'm with you, man. I feel you. I was choked up.
I was thinking too, man. Like I'm sorry, Jordan's performance though in the episode, like the ability, like oh man, I'm sorry, I keep forgetting what his name is, like his real name, but his ability, I'm sorry, Alex's ability to just hone in all of this like anger that he has, like in one scene, and like the next scene he's just innocent, right? So like we're talking about the scene between Jordan and Clark, and he's in the volcano, right? And at one moment he's like, Dad, what happened? And he was just, and you're like, oh, you're like genuinely, you realize like what's going on. And then like in a switch, Alex turns and he just boom delivers this heavy hitting scene because like it's the switch is flipped. And I just love the dynamic of range that he has from just like this, I'm this helpless kid to like I'm this mean ass dad. Just in the switch. I was like, bruh, like bravo to you. Like bravo.
I agree, man. I felt like that was a great choice to let him, to allow him to play. Like obviously he's playing Jordan, but in the finale he also gets to play Zeta Rho, and he does so very effectively. Yeah, man, I'm with you, man. Like he's super talented kid, man. I think both the kids who play, Jordan Elsas, who plays Jonathan, which is funny because his brother character is Jordan. Jordan plays Jonathan. Alex plays Jordan. It's funny. Elizabeth that was her mantra because she was like, Jordan plays Jonathan. She had to keep telling him that. But no, both the kids, man. I think again, Jordan Elsas, who plays John he has that great moment where he's talking to Jordan and he's trying to break through to him, and it's again, man, like we keep talking about like what a great brother John is, and it's so beautiful that it's that moment that he says to Jordan, he's like, I love you. And that's when, boom, like he snaps out of it. I mean, there's like Lois like inside, like helping him fight through it, but then also Jonathan on the outside. And it's like, that's beautiful, man. Like that sums up the idea of family so well, that it's not just an external struggle, it's also an internal struggle, and your family can help you overcome the both of them. Like that's phenomenal. That's good writing. That's
Yeah.
good writing, man. So yeah, I thought that was fantastic. Swag, what were some of your thoughts on this episode? What did you think of the finale?
Yeah, I honestly had no worries at all that they were, like that they weren't gonna like stick the landing. Like I was like fully like they're gonna do this. I was confident. And then seeing the episode, it's like, yeah, like I was right. Like there was no reason to be worried. Because they
Yeah,
brought that same energy from like all the episodes before it into this one, and they managed to wrap up everything nicely. And
yeah,
like again, like it was like for the finale, like they did it right. Like, they got all the emotions in. Like as short like as like the big fight was, like I think that was like
mhm,
only half the episode. It still didn't feel like it was quick or it was rushed. Like it felt just right.
yeah,
Because, we got the fight, we got the conflict, and then the rest of the episode was the aftermath of that and like everybody kind of, like wrapping up the whole story with everybody in the entire show.
yeah,
And
yeah.
they balanced everything perfectly. And I loved it. I had a good time.
I agree. I thought, yeah, it's like the fight with Zeta Row, or even with the Eradicator. It's like, yeah, like that stuff was all handled really well. But like even if it wasn't like the big central focus of the episode, it still hit like all the right beats. The tension with obviously Superman and Steel,
Yeah.
they've got to pull this maneuver to defeat the Eradicator, and it's like John Henry, his suit is starting to fail, and you don't know if he's going to have enough power to do it, and it's like, yeah, like they really knew how to raise the
Yeah.
that moment. It was great, man. And like Superman swooping in and saving him before he just crashes into the earth, that was a great moment. I do want to
Yeah.
bring up a thing that I noticed, just in regards to the entire season, and it's capped off perfectly here in the finale. Like how, I don't want to say great because it's like this emotionally taxing thing, but like how brilliant was it for the writers to start the season with Clark saying goodbye to his mother, and then here in the finale he's saying goodbye to his father. Like
Yeah.
that was brilliant, because to me, and again, like I don't want to say like it's a great, like he has no family left, but the idea is like his Earth mother passed away in the premiere, in the pilot, and here he's sort of saying goodbye to his biological father because he now no longer has that communication with him. But the thing that's beautiful about it now is that he's the father.
Yep.
It's that from like the Christopher Reeve, the son becomes the father, and like that's beautiful because like now he and Lois are now these people that he had to let go of, and it's like that's the stuff I live for, like as a writer, as a fan of these characters and storytelling. That's brilliant, man, and I loved that about just the entire season. It's again, like that's great writing right there, and I applaud the writers on this show, and yeah, this episode was very satisfactory, I think. And again, like Cliff said, like even the sort of the stinger at the end, the cliffhanger was, because honestly, when they were like, there's an incoming, it's locked onto your signature and your suit, I was like, oh, I was like, my first thought was, did evil Superman follow him? He followed him, and I was like, is that gonna be season 2? That would be cool. But no, like the emotional payoff to what actually happened was way more satisfying, I think. So
Yeah.
Yeah, we also have to talk about like, cause not even just like the main characters, like all got like their nice little like button ups, like their nice sew ups, but like even like like the Cushings, you know what I mean? Like they all got like their beautiful payoffs too, where like
Yeah.
finally we get like the whole redemption, like because we've been talking about this redemption arc that's been going on with their dad, right? And
yeah,
we've been talking about this beautiful arc that they're building, and then all of a sudden you see right there Eric. Eric comes out, like I use his real Eric Valdez. He comes
yeah,
out and he's got the lady in his arms, and all the windows explode. But he's got like his Superman moment where he's just like
yeah,
come out looking so
Yeah.
cool. I was like, I
yeah.
didn't like you at the beginning. I like
But
you
now I
now.
love you. Yeah, it's like I want you to live through this.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I'm not gonna lie, I was afraid he was gonna die in the finale. Like
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna kill him off. But no, like totally, because you nailed it. So like he got his Superman moment. Like and the thing I love about that too is like even Superman, when he's doing his interview at the end, he talking about, I didn't save Smallville, the people of Smallville saved Smallville, and it's like, yeah, man, like that's beautiful. I love that. Yes, I love that moment with Kyle, like his redemption and him like proving the whole town wrong. He's like, no, like this is my home and I care. And again, like see sort of the montage towards it, like he's in his uniform again and he's helping everybody, and it's like, yeah, man, like that's beautiful. Like you deserve it, Kyle.
And then there's that moment. There's that moment with Lana and Mayor Dean where like she turns and she
Yeah,
looks at him, and it's almost like the "I'm coming after your fucking job" look. And I was like,
Yeah.
yeah.
you should. Mayor Lana has a nice ring to it.
Girl, yeah, I'm all
Yeah.
for it. Like I said, when this started, I was like, is she gonna run for mayor? Is she gonna take the mayor's job? So like, yes, I saw that moment. I was like, oh, she's running for mayor. That's what's gonna
You see
happen.
his face too, like
Crushing, bro.
his that's like so it's something that I really enjoy a lot about like the DC side of things versus like the Marvel side, right? And I'll explain. So in the MCU, it was something Robert Redford said, like while he was filming Winter Soldier, right? Is that my eyes will do the talking. Like I don't have to write all these words down. I don't have to keep feeding dialogue. He's like a looks that I can give someone can tell a bigger story. And
Yeah,
the look the mayor gave Lana, it's not like he walked up and he was like, "What, are you gonna run for mayor now?" and like leave it open. No, he just looked and he was just like, "Oh shit, like
yeah,
I'm in fucking trouble." Like he never said it. He just gave the look, and I was like, "That's like such great nonverbal like telling of a story." Because like I get tired of like don't feed me dialogue all the time. Sometimes like you just gotta let people's like imagination or even just their body interpret what somebody else is saying, and they did a perfect job. And just no one said anything. It's not like Lana was like, "I'm going to run for mayor." Like no, she just looked at him. She gave him a look like, "I'm coming for your fucking job," and Mayor Dean was like, "She's coming for my fucking job."
yeah, exactly. Exactly. And look, you nailed it, Cliff. Like that's an old storytelling mantra: show, don't tell. And like, yeah, you nailed it. That's exactly what happened. Because again, there's no dialogue there between Zoom. It's just the two of them. Like she looks at him, he looks at her, and you know exactly what's happening there. No one
Yep.
has to. It's like, yeah, man, that's phenomenal. I love that. That's awesome. Swag, what about you? Anything else on the finale?
No, just I love the show and I can't wait for more.
Also, look, I want my boy John. I want him to get a win. I still don't trust that Tegan.
Yeah.
Trust.
I'm with
You know,
you.
like that was supposed to be the payoff to his story, but there's too much bad history with her. I don't trust her. I
Yeah.
still don't.
And did I mention it when we were talking about the last episode? Where cause she mentions her father. Like, did I mention that on the show? I was
You
like,
did mention.
yeah. It's like there's no way. Like, you can't just say that and then not have her dad be a villain.
So I don't trust her. I'm
Yeah.
gonna keep my eye on her. That's all I'm saying. Um, but look, and that's not to like I think John deserves the world. Okay, like we've talked about how great he is as a character, as a human being. I just don't trust that girl. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're looking out for him. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, I'm looking out for my boy.
We got
We
your
don't
back.
want
We
to,
got your
yeah,
back.
we don't want him to get his heart broken. That's the point.
She's
Yeah.
gonna say some wild stuff, man, and we're all gonna drop Josh. She's gonna say something along the lines of like, "Yeah, my mom is from an island," and we're all gonna be like, "She's Amazonian? What the fuck?"
Bro, if they pull that one, like I'm gonna be like, oh, what?
Yeah.
Great.
Oh, all right. All right. So, that being said, Swag, what would you rate this episode on a scale of 1 to 10?
That's a 10 out of 10 for me.
Right on. Cliff, what about you?
I think I give this episode 9 3/4.
Solid. Yeah, I think
It's a tough one, isn't it?
it is a tough one. Like, cause I'm thinking like how does this rate? Because it was a great finale. I think I'll give it a 9.5. 9.5 out of 10. As a whole though, as a season 1, Swag, what would you rate it?
Yeah, that's a
That's an even tough one.
Yeah. I'm even trying to remember like all my scores prior.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Yeah, screw it. 10 out of 10 because it was that thing where I looked forward to each episode every week. And when we got the break, it was like, come on, man, like just can't this go by quicker?
Yeah.
Like I need more of it.
I'm with you, man. It's a 10 out of 10 for me as well. Like, I'm not even gonna hesitate to say it. Like, because it was such a breath of fresh air,
Yeah.
And I don't think there was an episode that left me disappointed. I mean, I know we ranked them differently, but like in terms of there were no filler episodes, there were no junk episodes. We constantly talk about everything was paced well, everything had a purpose in the story. Nothing felt like it was out of place. It didn't feel like it was there just for the sake of being there. Yeah, like this is as close as I think I've ever seen a show, a first season, being flawless. Like that. This was a great first season, and it leaves me with a lot of high expectations for season 2. So yeah, 10 out of 10 for me. Cliff, what about you?
I think I'm gonna give it 9 3/4. Like I'm gonna be right there. You're right though. Like everything about the show is great. Like I have no quarrels with it at all. Like I love the pacing. I love the visuals for it. I love the fact that CW like dumped a bunch of money into this show and made this production like really really good. So like just like you, the expectations is gonna be super high next season. So
Yeah.
I don't know how, but my worry is I don't know how you go up from here, and
Yeah.
I'd be very curious to see what happens.
Yeah, same for sure. And I'm with you on that too. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, let us know what you thought of the finale and what you thought of the season as a whole. Love to hear from you on that. All right, let's get into Stargirl Summer School, Chapter 2. This was a really cool episode. I thought it was it was nice to get a bit more into Jenny and her origin, her backstory. I do want to give a shout out to the Ordway house, which is a reference to Jerry Ordway, very famous DC Comics writer, which I thought was not. I immediately recognized the name. That was nice. That was really cool. I like the idea of Jenny searching for her brother, which I kind of had to explain to people. It was like, oh, that's her brother Todd. That's Obsidian. He also has superpowers. He's a superhero. So I hope we get more of that. It seems like we will. Get the payoff, like I said, like I knew as soon as she grabs the ring, you see the power surge from her into the ring. I was like, yeah, the power's inside of her. She doesn't need the lantern. So that was cool. I thought this episode was really good, although I will say it felt like some of the supporting cast was a bit wasted in this episode. Like Yolanda, Beth, even Rick, they felt like they were didn't really serve a purpose because this episode was more about Courtney's insecurities in relation to Jenny showing up. So I don't know. That's probably my only real gripe with this episode is it felt like some of the characters didn't need to be there. But other than that, pretty good. I loved the introduction to the Shade. Pretty cool. I liked him. I like him. I like the performance, the actor. I'm not sure the name of the actor. I'll have to look it up. But I thought he was doing a really good job of being really menacing and ominous without being too in your face about it.
Yeah.
It's hard to strike that balance with a villainous portrayal, but I thought he did so very well. Also, I did make the connection between the Shade and Obsidian, which I pointed out to somebody. And again, this is like only if you're deep cuts DC guy like me would you have made that connection. Like, it makes sense that Obsidian will probably play a big part in defeating the Shade because they have similar power, not identical. They're not the same power, but they're very similar, and I think that's going to play a big part in the story arc in things to come. I might be wrong, but and again, I'm not going to explain it to anybody like Cliff because I don't want to spoil anything for him or anyone else out there who doesn't know. So yeah, but again, I think aside from maybe some of the characters not getting as much time to shine in this episode, I thought it was a real solid episode. I really enjoyed it. Swag, what about you?
Yeah, I liked it. But to like agree, like yeah, like the rest of the team didn't really do a whole lot, which kind of sucked because like I love those characters from season 1, and like I would have liked to get like each of their input on like the whole thing, or even see them do more and maybe even continue more of like their stories. But
Yeah,
again, like it was still a good episode.
Yeah.
But and yeah, like you talking about the Shade and his introduction, like and the way that the actor was playing the character, like yeah, like menacing but also mysterious at the same time. You
Yeah.
weren't very sure
yeah,
until Pat kind of
yeah,
worked his investigative skills on it. But yeah, no, I liked it. And again, like I really hope we get to see more of Jenny soon. Because
Yeah.
I did like what we did get to see of her, and even like I would love to just see her use her powers more and just kind of get more of
Yeah.
those effects because those were cool.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I agree. I agree 100%. Cliff, what about you? What do you think of this episode?
Yeah, I have to agree with you guys. Like, a bunch of the cast members, they weren't really necessary for like anything, right? I mean, you could have built the whole episode around Courtney, around Jade, and around Pat. I do, and I will agree. Like having the Shade make his appearance, it was definitely cool, and just like his demeanor. I love the fact that Pat like purposely labeled the car wrong to see if it
Yeah.
would get corrected, which it did. Like there's
Yeah.
just certain aspects of the show that I definitely enjoyed, but like when it came down to like Jade finally understanding, like, well, Jenny understanding that she is the power, like it was cool to see. And then she was like, "Hey guys, look, I can fly."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like of all the things you can do, you're just like acknowledging the fact that you can fly. I don't know. I'm hyped to see her. There's a lot more stuff that I can't wait to see, like what's gonna happen with the episode. But one thing I did like was the changing, the change inside of Courtney that happened. Right, like she started off the
Yeah.
episode very jealous because she's like, "You're the father of a superhero, and I'm just some random girl." Right, and then like as Pat had to explain it to her, like, listen, like, this was you. You are Jenny. Like, you have to like pull back and mentor. And she realized it, and then she kind of made that connection, and then from there she became like the leader once again that she is. So it was definitely cool to see like the transition that she had to go through from the beginning episode to the end. So I liked it.
Yeah. It was again, it was a good episode. It's just, it's kind of hard to ignore the fact that some of the characters were kind of wasted in this episode.
Yeah.
But again, like aside from that nitpick, it's not even really a nitpick. I think it's a genuine
Criticism.
critique. Yeah. No, I still enjoyed the episode. I thought it was great. I liked the stuff that's going on with Eclipso and Cindy. I like that. Although it does leave me questioning, like, who's the big bad this season? Is it Eclipso or is it the Shade? Or both? I don't know. We'll find out. But that is legitimately the one question I have. Is like, who's the bigger threat? Who's it gonna be? So, but yeah, no. I really like this episode. If I were to rate it, I'd probably give this an 8 out of 10. Still really enjoyed it. Although, I can't ignore some of its faults. Cliff, what about you?
Yeah. Originally I was thinking, I was like, yeah, there's some stuff that just really wasn't vibing with me on this episode. So yeah, like I give it 8.25. Like I feel that's pretty fair.
Yeah, that's fair. Swag, what about you?
Yeah, like a 9. Just, yeah, solid 9.
Oh, yeah, fair enough, man. All right, so there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Stargirl this week, Summer School, Chapter 2. Let us know what you thought if you're watching it. All right, let's get into Marvel's What If. This is the second episode. This was, I'm going to say it, man. I felt like this was a huge step up from the premiere. Like I said, I really enjoyed the first episode, but if I were going to say I had any one complaint about it, it's that it really did just feel like a rehash of the first Avenger with a couple roles swapped. And again, I really enjoyed the episode. I thought it was great. I thought it was a great start to this series. This, however, was a huge step up in that it's a completely different thing. It didn't feel like we were just going through Guardians Volume 1 with a different protagonist. Like, this felt like this one change had so many consequences and repercussions over the entire universe, and therefore they were free to do whatever they wanted. It seemed like, so that we saw characters who were good guys this time. Thanos,
Yeah.
like I thought that was good. I loved what they did with Thanos in this episode, and and obviously, look, I'm not dancing around or ignoring it. The premise is T'Challa was picked up by Yondu, and he essentially. Although here's my one. I think I have two critiques of the episode, and I said this already to Swag. Number one, him being called Star-Lord makes no sense in this universe.
Yeah.
Because Peter Quill took that name because it was a nickname his mother gave. And I know in the comic book, Star-Lord is a title given to a space cop, but that's not the established meaning of that name in this universe, even in this alternate universe. So him being called Star-Lord makes no sense. Also, him having his Wakandan accent as an adult makes no sense either. He would have lost that a long time ago. Now, that being said, I really loved this episode. This episode was fantastic. I thought it was great getting to see, what I loved the idea that T'Challa, even as a Ravager, had such a strong moral core that he affected change in Yondu, the Ravagers, even Thanos. It feels like T'Challa flipped Thanos just by giving him a good argument against his his beliefs and ideals. And Thanos himself was like, you may be right about this. Maybe I have been going about this the wrong way. I will join you. You seem like a solid dude. I like that. I like that idea that T'Challa is just no matter where he is, he's just such a beacon, I guess, that he can inspire change in others the way that most people can't. And not to get too emotional on a certain level, but what a great way to remember that character and the way Chadwick Boseman played him. You know what I mean? That's a beautiful sort of love letter to the character and the actor. That's great. I think that's phenomenal. But yeah, I really really loved this episode. I loved all the Easter eggs too. Like, like we saw the Collector in this universe had Captain America's shield, and he had Thor's hammer, and he had, all that cool stuff. But also, like, how great was it to see Howard the Duck with more than 2 lines of dialogue this time around?
Yep.
Once again voiced by Seth Green. Like, that's awesome. I'm always gonna love that. But yeah, I really really liked this episode. Again, I don't want to get too much into it in case people haven't seen it. I really really liked it. I liked that. I feel like this one had more of the original live action cast return
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
the previous one did. I feel like, what am I wrong in that Drax was the only character who was recast? I feel like he was the only one.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Because I know that was even Sean Gunn and Chris Sullivan.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I thought, yeah, this episode was great. I'm not even gonna wait. I think this was a 10 out of 10. This was a solid 10 out of 10, and it has me super excited for the future of this season and series. Swag, what about you? What do you think of this episode?
Yeah, I loved it for sure. And like, to kind of go on like the Thanos thing, like I loved that. And like I've always like you talk to like my crew, and like we always get into like the conversation of like Thanos and the Infinity War movies. Like, I don't really like Thanos all that much. I always like criticized his character and like his motivations always. And to kind of, and like when this came out, I got on with the crew again, and I was like, you know what? I like Thanos.
Yeah.
Like, I never thought I'd say that. Like this episode made me like Thanos.
Yeah, same. I mean, I've made it no secret that, like, in the movies anyways,
Yeah.
I never really agreed with his motivation. Like, I thought that was like, and this episode even calls it out. It's like he's looking for an excuse to commit genocide, and like everybody's like, after he tells him, he's like, I don't know, man, that sounds like genocide, and he's like, no. But it's like, I feel like them willing to be like, no, yeah, it was genocide, and making a joke out of it this go around is it does kind of endear me to the character in a way that I wasn't before. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
and like hearing Chadwick's voice again, it's like, yeah, like, I don't want to get too emotional, but it's like, he was, that voice and like the way he plays the character it was great. And especially since like this was his version of the character on live action, was the first live action version of that character. And like, so the way he did it always stuck in my head, and I will always remember his performance as the character. And I'm so glad we got to hear him and, even kind of see him play the character like one last time. And that was great. I loved that.
It is. Although I should clarify, Chadwick actually appears in 4 episodes of What If.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Well, we'll get to see him 3 more times after this. But yeah, no, I understand the sentiment. Like, yeah, it's great to get more of that performance before we actually have to, let it. But yeah, no, I'm with you, man. Cliff, what about you?
Yeah, so I definitely, my favorite thing right off the jump was when he was gonna go steal the Power Stone, and like, and Karath was like, "Who are you?" And as soon as T'Challa turned around, he was like, "Oh my goodness, you are Star-Lord! I'm a big fan." And then the moment he was just like, "That's not the reaction I was expecting." That was like, yes, we're in a whole different world.
Yeah.
Which is funny because that was the reaction Quill was expecting.
Yep.
That's what I love about that moment so much, is like, T'Challa got the reaction Quill wanted. It's like that. That's what made me laugh so much when I saw that. That was great. But go ahead. Go ahead.
I love the fact too that we explore so much, right? And one of the things that I loved was when they were like, they picked up T'Challa and they're like, look, what you said, 2 eyes, 2 ear holes, 1 mouth hole. He's like, this is the person you want. He's like, does this look like this? And the guy, the Ravager was like, listen, all those Earthlings look alike. I was
All
like,
humans
Yeah.
look alike to me. I don't know.
what? I was like, that's an insane statement. I was like, I loved it. That was my favorite thing. So Fred taught us Scior. I hope it's Tata Scior. That's the guy who did the voice of Drax. I just wanted to
He
touch
was
base on that.
this episode?
Oh, what?
Yeah,
Awesome.
Oh, wait, no, yeah, I did pick up on that. I was like, hey, that's Fred. I didn't say it out loud, but I was like, hey, that's Fred.
yeah. I love how he was like just low key. He was like, no, I insist we take another picture. I looked great. You looked horrendous. I was like,
Yeah.
that's definitely a Dave Bautista saying. Like I can see that.
Yeah.
Also, how cool was it to see Drax as a bartender if his planet never got ruined?
Yeah. Like the cool thing about that was like we got to see Drax and he was like happy.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was so
That's
cool. I was like, oh, nice. I loved all the tie-ins that we had with the story and stuff. Like I just thought like all of it was great. It was a great way to, I mean, for an episode that was featured all around T'Challa, it was great to see Chadwick's work so heavily involved in it. And like this will be like where my sentimental part comes in because it was definitely sad because obviously we know like this was one of the last works that he did before he passed away. And so for me, it's like listening to him do that voice all over again, and then have a comedic style to it. Because when we see T'Challa, he's always like very serious, like in the MCU world. But to see like such a great spin on like a character being happy and just cracking jokes and being cunning like he always is, it was just fun to see. And then he got to go back, and we saw his dad had never been harmed. Like there's just so much cool stuff, and all the original voice actors coming back for the roles. I was like, this is what was supposed to happen, and I genuinely just fell in love with the episode. So yeah, for me, I was gonna give it a 10 out of 10 as well.
Yeah. Swag, what would you rate this episode?
Yeah, 9.5. It was good. It was really good.
Right on. So before we move on, I do want to touch on something that Cliff was talking about briefly. So apparently, while they were Chadwick was recording his dialogue for the show, he apparently was also very much a fan of the take on T'Challa here, in that he's a lot less serious, more fun, and a bit more hopeful. He actually asked Kevin Feige, he was like, can we take some of the tone, not the story, but the tone of the character here, and can we put that into Black Panther 2? And Kevin Feige apparently was like, yeah, absolutely. And, you know, obviously he won't get to play the part again in live action, but it'll be interesting to see what they do going forward. Like now knowing that Chadwick requested that for the character, like I'm curious what's going to happen, you know, like, so it just makes me really, really want to see what that movie's going to end up being. But yeah, no, I thought that was an interesting story. It came out like right after this episode aired. Kevin Feige told that story, and I think it you know, it's interesting. But yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching Marvel's What If, let us know what you thought of this week's episode and what were your favorite parts. All right, let's get into. Oh, what's up, Cliff?
I was gonna say, shout out to Ego making his return. We didn't
talk about that.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that. Peter's over in like a Burger King, like mopping.
It was a Dairy Queen, but yes. It was a Dairy Queen. But yeah, no, because I was watching the episode and I saw Kurt Russell's name in the opening credits, and I was like, all right, where's he go? Where's he going to show up? And then he shows up at the tail end of it. But I like that the watcher was like, that's a story for a different time, you know?
Yes.
And like, okay, well, we better get back to that story then, because I want to find out what happens. But yeah, that was great. I thought that was awesome. I do like the idea that Peter Quill just turned out to be a nobody. You know, he's literally He's literally just he's a janitor at a Dairy Queen. But yeah, no, I can't wait to see what happens there. Like, that's definitely gonna be interesting. So.
That's a season 2 episode.
All right, so let's get into it. We got one more show to talk about this week. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about Titans Season 3, Episode 4, Blackfire. Now, this episode, I remember specifically when the episode ended, I was like, oh, these episodes aren't long enough. I even texted Clip. I sent a text to Clip. I was like, bro, these Titans episodes are not long enough. Like, seriously, because, like, the episode was going, and I'm in it, man, right? I'm invested. I want to know what's happening. And I'm so caught up in the drama, in the story, the action, everything. And then the episode ended, and I was like, that's where you end that's where, no. I was so frustrated. Needless to say, I really enjoyed this episode. That's why I wanted more of it. But yeah, I really liked it. I like getting a proper introduction to Blackfire and getting that interaction between her and her sister. That was really cool. I kept trying to figure out if the doctor who was there in the facility with her was someone important from the comic books, but I honestly didn't even know what his name was. I was trying to read his name on his lab coat, and I couldn't read it. So if anybody out there knows who this character is or was supposed to be, if he was someone important, let me know, because I was just kept scratching my head, like, is he supposed to be someone I know? Like, who is this guy? But we'll figure it out. Yeah, I really like the performance. I like Damaris what is her? Lewis, sorry. Damaris Lewis. I really like her as Blackfire. I thought she did. But not, I mean, we saw her briefly in season 2, but I thought she had much more to do. She had so much to sink her teeth into in this episode, especially having that confrontation with her sister. I really like Gar in this episode. I felt so bad for him, though. Like, Starfire just kept beating him up or, like, shoving him in the trunk, and it's like, Gar, come on, man.
It really did feel like something straight out of the cartoon.
Yes.
Like, bro, you deserve so much better. But yeah, no, I love Ryan Potter. I love that kid. He's great. He's phenomenal. Yeah, I really liked this episode, man. I thought it was phenomenal. It felt like this one was much more focused. Like, we had the A plot, which was, honestly, I'm not sure which one was the A plot. Was it Blackfire? I mean, the episode was called Blackfire, so I'm assuming that
we could say that that's the
and that would make the B plot, Dick and Crane and Jason. But I thought focusing on these two plots alone made this episode so much more cohesive, and again, it all just felt so much more focused. Like, you weren't meandering elsewhere. Barbara shows up again, but it's with a purpose. Like, she's tied into the plot with the Red Hood and Jonathan Crane, and giving Gar a purpose in the story as well, like being there to help Corey. Everywhere that story goes, I felt was great. I do like that we did check in with Connor a bit in his mental state after what happened in the previous episode, but again, we didn't meander on that too long. Like, we checked in with him, we know where he is. I'm sure we'll catch up on that when it's necessary. This season, so far, we're 4 episodes in. This season feels like it's a much tighter show.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned it in the last episode, it feels like the writers have really tightened everything up. It feels like, yeah, I'm really impressed with everything that's happened. Cliff, what do you think of this week's episode?
Yeah, so I thought after the explosive episode, ending of episode 3, yeah, I did. I like the fact that we talked to Connor. I was sad for him, man, because he was just like, because he was referring to the Luther side of him being the screw up side, and I was like, bro, like, if you knew anything, like, that side of you is probably what gave you the best chance of, like, defeating this whole thing. I was like, you can't. And then I was talking to the screen the whole time. I was just like, bro, like, you can't control things out of your element. Like, you just can't control. So you can't put anything behind it. Like, you did your best. You did exactly what you were supposed to do. Somebody else pulled the trigger Won't put anything out there. It wasn't his fault. Like, I felt bad. But I will want to put this out there. How badass is it to see Gar just be able to throw hands with Starfire? Like,
Yeah.
because even though she came out there and she like crisped him at first, like he like
Yeah.
was like, you're catching hands and feet.
Yep.
Yo, anytime Ryan gets to show off his martial arts skills, I'm here for it. Like even in season 2, when I was like, yeah, man, you just show off your skills, man. I know you can do this. So yeah, when I got to see him do that, I was like, what I'm talking about. So,
I just love the fact that he was like making a pizza and he was just like, hey, do you want some? Raff! Like, whoa, what the hell?
that pizza looked so good too.
Yep.
Like, I was like, give me a slice of that right now.
And then yeah, so like the dynamic between Dick and Jason and Crane like was really cool too. I really enjoyed that side of the story. I love the fact that Barbara was like, turn him over. He was like, this is Dick Grayson. Of course he's not gonna do this. Bye. Flip.
You need to return him now. And he's like, nah. Just- what the fuck?
So I kind of made it. I made it referenced when I sent. Cause remember, like when I was listening to the episode back, I had like sent you like notes and notes and notes over like everything I was talking about. I love
Yeah.
the fact that what I knew what was happening with Crane was confirmed with Dick, that he was fucking with him the whole time because he knew who it was, and he was just like, yeah, it must be. And he just kept leading him down like wrong trails to like give him like that one breadcrumb that was like, oh, that's the actual clue, but he just gave him like a whole bunch of information that wasn't necessary. And he was like, I was like, dude, Crane knows who the fuck Red Hood is. He's just like, yeah, sorry, Dick, I can't really help you. I'm just gonna give you broad statement.
Yeah.
So to see it all pay off in this episode, I was like, oh, yes, let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree, man. I think the whole thing with Crane, and yeah, like him like it makes sense that he would know. You know, like obviously he figured that shit. But also like the revelation that him and Jason were more than just, it wasn't just him like consoling him or consulting with him on something, like the idea that like Crane had a lot to do with Jason's mental state, at the beginning of season 3. It's like, wow, that's crazy stuff, man. And obviously like Jason whether it was as Jason or as Robin, like clearly Crane could deduce that they are the same person, and that would lead him, like obviously he figured everything out. But I do also love the idea that he was in this episode trying to break Grayson, but then Grayson turns it around on him.
Yeah.
And that look of like, oh, you played me. Like I love it. Such a great moment. I love it. I love it so much. Swag, what about you? What do you think of this episode, man?
Oh yeah, it was good, really good. Again, like the whole thing with Starfire and Blackfire, like that was great to like see more of them, and especially see them face to face, and kind of get more of those two characters and like how their relationship is with one another. And even like the stuff, like the Red Hood stuff, and like Dick and Crane, like that was really good. I enjoyed watching that stuff, and I was like thinking about it, and I was like, oh yeah, that does kind of make sense. Like Crane is really nothing without his toxin.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, like he's kind of in a point where he's like, well, I don't have anything around me to help me make what I need, so I'm kind of screwed right now.
I love every time he like tries to escape and he walks right into a trap. Those were some of my favorite moments. Like the net, he goes up in the net, and then like the second time, I was like, dude, what? You're gonna walk right in, and then he walks right into like
the field, yeah.
That was great. I love those moments, and yeah, no, I really enjoyed this episode, man. I felt like this episode was really tight. It was really focused, and I really appreciate that in my storytelling. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it. I think this was a 10 out of 10 for me. I really, really enjoyed this episode. Cliff, what about you?
Yeah, I liked the dynamic with like everything going on, So I think I could rate this a 10 out of 10. I'm gonna tell you that last week's episode I undercut it. I did say it was a 10 out of 10, but it really probably should have been a 15 out of 10 for that whole shit moment.
Bro, I agree with you, man. Like that episode was, bro.
I just like
Broke us all.
I did an interview earlier this week, right? And somebody asked me in the question, they're like, "Who's your favorite supervillain and who's your favorite superhero?" And I was like, "Oh, well, it changes from time to time." I was like, "If you'd asked me this like a couple months ago, I would have told you it's like Joker and Killmonger." But recently, it's been Jason Todd. It's like the mind fuck that I just got put on with Titan season 3. I was like, this is that just the coldness that I got from him. I was like, bruh.
Oh, and by the way, I forwarded that image you sent me with you wearing the Red Hood shirt. I said, Swag saw it.
Amazing. Beautiful.
Yeah. Swag, what about you? What do you rate this episode?
Yeah, 10 out of 10. That was yeah, again, like it does feel different, but in a good way, the show this season. I'm really enjoying it, and can't wait to see more.
Agreed. I can't wait to see what the rest of the season has in store for us. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, there it is. If you're watching Titans, let us know what you thought of this week's episode. What were your favorite parts? What are you looking forward to the most? All right. That's going to do it for us. That's TV time, and that's this week's episode of Nerds of the Round Table. Once again, we're back at full force. Cliff is here. Swag is here. I'm always here. Cliff, let everybody out there know where they can find you online.
Yeah, so if you guys go to linktree.com/the_reddog85, you can legit find everything there, from my TikTok to my Clapper to my Instagram to my Facebook to my Twitter to my Twitch channel to the YouTube channel, also the 3 Count podcast, as well as being attached to right here on Nerds of the Round Table. So you guys know what to do. Just give me a follow. That's all. That's all I want. And a mention.
Yeah. Show them all the love, ladies and gentlemen. You know what to do. Swag, let everybody know where they can find you.
Yeah, you guys can come over to youtube.com, Mr. Swagtastic. As I'm saying this, I just remembered I have to upload. So hopefully that video will be hopefully that video will be up by the time this podcast is out, so you can go watch it. Very Terminator focused, so if you love that, you'll definitely love this video. I mean, aside from that, I'm trying to crank out more content. There's tons of ideas floating through my head that I want to get done, try and get out. So if you're interested in any of that, come hang out. It's a good time.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. You know what to do, Mr. Swagtastic on YouTube. And I am, of course, Antonio Padilla. You can find me on all social media at Tron Pilgrim or at Tron Pilgrim 87. You'll know which one is me. Don't forget to, if you're watching us on YouTube, so don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Hit that bell icon, get notifications every time videos are up. If you're listening to us, you are listening to us on anchor.fm/nerds or Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify, everywhere podcasts are available. Don't forget to like Nerds of the Round Table on Facebook, facebook.com/Real Nerds of the Round Table, and you can follow us on Twitter at RealNerds_. I think I got everything, right? All right. Sounds good to me, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to do it for us this week. Join us next time, same nerd time, same nerd channel. Good night, folks. Swag, cue that outro.
Eject! Oh boy.
Oh, we had a definite goose moment at this.
Oh no, too soon. Too soon.